Hello and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I am going to draw Banana Man. Except for like a smaller version of him. Well, it's going to be bigger because it's on a bigger piece of paper, but he's going to be like a smaller version of him. A more simplified version, I should say. That's how small we're going to make the circle. Decide what direction he's looking in. That general direction. Give him his eyes. Put the crack facing probably the right direction. I've drawn him so many times and I can never remember which way the crack or slash or whatever on his eye goes. Alright. Now we're just going to sketch in some quick little pumpkin shapes just to have some guidelines. Make sure it's relatively really circular, because when I try to make a more simplified version I would much prefer it be more circular because I think it just looks better. You know, there's a little shitty version. It's a little too flat on that side and a little too flat right here, but you know, we can always fix that because this is just a little sketch. We'll go ahead and deal with the stem too, which the stem looks like that, so it should actually be kind of facing this way. Or, oh wait, actually no, it would be facing the opposite direction. Yeah, it's fine. It'd be facing forward more because it actually faces you when you're looking at it. Kinda. It really doesn't matter. So what are we gonna do for the clothes? Also, it doesn't matter because I'm gonna give him a hat. I've never drawn him with a witch hat before and I kinda wanted to. So we're gonna do that. Don't really have too much plans for what the witch hat's gonna look like, but could curl it a bunch because, you know, like pumpkin stems curl a bunch at the end or whatever. There we go. Could do something like that maybe. We definitely would have to fix like this stuff, but that's fine. For the clothes, let's go ahead and give him a little torso. And then we'll go ahead and give a little line because he's facing this way. How am I going to draw his hands? I don't want to give him realistic hands because he's a little cartoonier, if that makes sense, version of him. Trying to make a more simplified version. Trying to be able to make more simplified versions of characters so that I can actually start making comics of these characters. Because, like, although I'm not going to stop practicing this, I cannot currently produce good enough drawings to continuously, like, make a comic. So if I'm able to make more simplified versions of these characters that I like, then I can make comics of them. Also, I just realized I literally put the frickin' body line right here and then disregarded it. Alright, we're just gonna go like that, and then this will be on this side. There we go, there, and there. Do this, and this. Tying these parts together with string or something along those lines, I'm not entirely sure. Alright, looks a little off, but you know, it's nothing too bad or anything yet. Alright. Also, it does have a neck. I'm just not going to add any because I don't think there's really room for a neck. But, don't know how I'm gonna deal with this, like, cloaky situation with it like this. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna deal with that. Or more, actually, also his legs. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna kind of do nothing. I've drawn him before with no legs. Water. So I think I'm just gonna not draw legs, make him basically, I don't know, float or something. So for his arm, what's he gonna do? Are we going to give him his little sword that I drew for the Castle Crashers version of him? The little stupid sword where it's got the cross guard like that, and the blade goes like this. It's meant to look sloppy. That's kind of the whole point of this sword. Here's a little bit of a better version of it right there. But we're not gonna do that actually. We're gonna double cross that one out because that's even bad for what it looks like. We could give him the little staff that we give him sometimes, because I guess this is a more magical version of him, so the staff would make more sense. So yeah, we'll give him the staff. Which way does it curl? I guess it doesn't matter because it can be turned in either direction, so it's not like it wouldn't be able to be turned in this direction. This isn't exactly what it looks like, but you know, it's close enough. It doesn't need to look the exact same, especially since I can't actually remember what it looks like. Nor can I remember if it has a wrapping, but we're gonna give it one because I like wrappings. Now, what does this staff do? I don't know. We'll come up with all the whats and hows and whys when I actually make a little comic out of this. When will that little comic be made? I have no idea. Maybe sometime soon, maybe not for a long time. Who knows? Let's try to make this little version of Banana Man a little more detailed. I don't like how turned I made this, but what are you gonna do? I don't really know how to make it look better. Okay, we're gonna erase it all. Also, I added his staff right there, but I have also damn it. I've also just realized I didn't actually add his staff into the drawing. He doesn't actually have his staff. Where is his staff? Is he just having his staff float in front of him? He could, or I could just put his staff on the other hand, or I could actually give him hands. I think I'm just gonna have his staff float in front of him so I don't actually have to deal with figuring out what the hell I want his hands to be like. It'll just be a little easier for me if I do that. We can deal with what his hands look like and everything like that once we need to, and at the moment we don't. Alright, there we go. Here's this. I guess we would also have to come up with what to color on these, because if I were to do a little comic of a simplified Banana Man, regardless of if I want to color it with actual colors or not, I would at least want to do like the manga thing where it's like black and white. So I would want to color some areas in with black and do hatching. So I'll have to figure out where I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to have to figure out how the hell to actually hatch correctly. Or, no, I know how to do it correctly, more how to place it correctly, because that I don't know how to do. Alright. And maybe if I actually finish, or not finish, maybe if I actually do decide to make a comic with this version of Banana Man, maybe I'll even make a character sheet for him. Also, I could get it colored because I do know someone who could color it for me, but I wouldn't count on that part. But I think this will actually end up looking relatively nice, this drawing of him. Even though it is somewhat lacking in detail, which I don't like, but I also do like that it's like clean. Also, I did just remember I'm gonna have to erase that top part, which actually I'm glad about because I was not happy with what it actually looked like. Okie dokie. Also, one thing you might notice, which is intentional if you see me drawing Banana Man again, this eye, well, both eyes are egg-shaped on purpose. They're not meant to be circles, they are egg-shaped on purpose. But this one, although this time it is kind of because of the perspective, this one is more egg-shaped than this one. It's just something I decided. His eyes aren't the same, despite the crack. There are other differences between the eyes too. There's not really any reason for it, like how the crack, there's a reason for it being there. There's no actual story reason or implications for that eye being bigger or anything like that. I just wanted it to be. So, yeah. Which the crack on his eye, the reason for that is trauma, basically. Kind of. But I don't feel like explaining all of it right now because, well, it's a lot to explain. And knowing myself, I would trip up on my words and forget where I was. And then just end up explaining something different. I'll explain Banana Man's whole story some other time. Once he's actually in a story. What story? I don't know. I haven't come up with a title for my story yet. I've looked at a couple things about like how to write stories, and a lot of them say like, come up with one of the first things you should do is come up with a title and stuff like that, so you can like have a general idea of what you want your story to be. I did not come up with a title first. I have a general idea of what I want my story to be. I have more than a general idea. I just still don't have a title. Because I just couldn't think of anything that actually fit the story. I'll come up with something eventually, but for now it has no story, and it's not too important because I'm more focused on improving my art skills than I currently am with writing the story. Right. Now we go, and now we go over here, and go wee right there, and like that. Go like this. Right. Then we'll add some of this. There we go. Perfect. And just one thing I'm gonna say, Banana Man will never, well, I mean, he might put one on at one point in the story, I don't know, but he will never wear a witch hat. That's not part of his character. He's not a witch. He can use magic. He does actually use magic, but he doesn't wear a witch hat. It's not part of his story. Or character, I mean. Not part of his character to wear a witch hat. Although that could change. That's not something that's necessarily fully concrete, but at the moment, he will not be wearing a witch hat. Alright. Go ahead and get this in here. And you know what I could do to add the color that or the lines that I was looking for? Fill this in most of the way, but leave little like white streaks in it a bit. Like a little bit like how they draw hair in anime. Kind of like that, maybe. Could do that, I don't know. It's not too big of an issue. And if I do draw a comic, I will most likely be doing a decent amount of it traditionally though, because I can just get way better results when I draw traditionally for some reason. Which I don't like, because I like digital better. But I'm so much better at traditional than I am digital. It is probably because I do not draw digitally nearly as much as I draw traditionally. But yeah, whatever. Alright, just trying to add some light shading, nothing too dark or anything. And we'll try to keep that pattern kind of all the way up here. But we'll get a little lazy with how we're doing it. We'll probably want to come up with some actual design for the rest of the witch hat, but right now this is what we got. Just sort of circles. But, you know, whatever. Perfect. There we go. Banana Man. Bewibbered Banana Man. Witch. Banana Man. Let's make sure that's an H. Witch Banana Man. And we'll go ahead and put my little signature on here. My little crown, put it on there. There's a little witch staff. Little staff of whimsy. Staff of whimsy. And it's Witch Banana Man. Alright. Bye. Have a wonderful day.